My childhood was, I would say, a little different. My twin brother and I, we went through the system together into a family that was a little chaotic, you know. Father just died from a heroin overdose a week before we were born. Mom was a heroin addict until an adult, it turned into an adult. I was about 25 when she started cleaning up. Thank God she's clean now. The story of being in the projects, aunts and uncles, drugs, gangs, ODs in the house, death, and a child trying to navigate their way through violence and domestic violence, and the violence, that domestic violence, how it spilled over to, you know, we got a piece of that violence too, you know?
Yeah.
And you know, just thinking about a child going through these types of things, I think of a little puppy, like let's just say a pit bull, and you grab it by the face and twirl it around, eventually starts to bite and bark back, and then you start to live that life of biting and barking, because you don't want to be, I don't like no one touching my face no more. There was kind of no real adult to take care of us. We have older homies and who are just as lost, but they're older. So it's like the blind leading the blind, getting us ready for juvenile hall, getting us ready for prison, lacing us up on how to make money and how to be. And how to be is not the normal life. Well, I was growing up, and you go from elementary to junior high school. There was something that really popped out to me, and it was the excitement of going to the big school, getting out of elementary, and like, I'm gonna make new friends. You know, when you're from the projects, like, pretty much everybody's your friend. You know, your generation's there, and you know everybody. So, you know, looking back, I took it for granted, like, of how to make friends. I didn't know how to make friends. I thought everybody was your friend. And I know that's young, ignorant, but I was young and ignorant. So I remember going to junior high school thinking, I want to make new friends. You know, hormones are happening, so I like girls now. And I went and I seen some dudes that I said, these guys look like they're players. You know, they look like, you know, they could get girls, and I'm gonna hang out with these guys. A little bit older dudes, you know?
Yeah.
And I just went and I hung out with them for a couple of days, you know, like one day, and then the second day, you know, the dude said, like, hey dude, why are you here with us? He told me this. And I'm like, you know, I'm kicking it, dog. Like, I know, you know, I mean, I'm gonna kick it with you guys, you know?
Yeah.
And then the guy said, like, you can't kick it with us, man. You're a scrub, you're a 7th grader, and you're from the projects. And I was like, what? Like, I've never heard that before. I've never been dissed like that before. And it hit my heart, you know, to be pushed aside.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm sure I said something, but what was more powerful was the rejection. And I remember thinking, like, man, forget you then, you know? And I turned around and walked away. And then I went toward the projects, you know, where the projects kick it at. And then one of my homies seen me. He didn't know what just happened, but he looked at me and he's like, guy got fooled. You remember him just going like that. And something in my head said, don't ever leave your people. Like, nobody wants us, you know. And it's a significant time for a person of that age about identity and stuff. And it just took that moment to really put the nail in to say, I'm from the projects. Everybody else don't like us. We're not like them. So,
yeah.
You know, and I remember that day walking back from school back to the projects. I told 3 of my homeboys, jump me in RG right now. And they said, let's just wait till we get to the projects. I said, no. I'm walking in an RG boy, like Ramona Gardens boy. It's a little step before you get into the gang. And I got jumped in. You know, even though I was born and raised, like, now we went through the fire, the ceremony of getting in. And then the other side, I would say, I lost hope completely. And so, if you lose hope, you join a gang. well, what are the benefits of being from this neighborhood, you know? PCP was huge. Start selling PCP, start dealing with your homeboys on you know, the older homies, how they can embrace you and they can still steal from you. So you learn those lessons. You fight, you know, sometimes you fight without even doing anything wrong. You just fight because the older homie wants to, you know, get you ready. Remember the dog? You know, he wants to test you. He wants to make sure that you're gonna go to juvenile hall and you're gonna fight in juvenile hall. So it doesn't matter how big they are, you know? So you get that test every once in a while.
Warrior mentality, right?
Yeah, it's that warrior mentality. I guess, you know, if we want to romanticize it, then yeah, it would be that. And then you're stealing cars. You want to learn how to drive. You know, there's no father, no one's trying to teach you how to drive. We just got to learn on our own. So you learn how to use a dent puller. You learn how to use that flathead screwdriver. And you learn how to drive. Speaking of stealing cars, there was a time when, you know, we're right by USC Medical. So by Hazard Park, I remember I went over there and carjacked some dude, you know, I said, put a gun on him and give me the car keys and let me get my paperwork. I remember him saying that. I said, sure, you know, took his paperwork. And I jumped in his car because he ran. I said, this was gonna call the cops. I jumped in his car and that fool had a stick. It was a stick, I don't know how to drive a stick. Oh. So then I managed to get it off that street, and then I had to cross Soto Street to go over the hill and just kind of guide, you know, just put it in neutral and guide it down into the projects. And I was gonna cross Soto Street, there was a red light, and then next thing you know, I would turn green and I go, you know, going over Soto Street, and a cop was right there just looking at me like, what are you doing, stupid? Now I'm like, oh no, you know? Yeah. So he just flicked his little light on and caught me, and I was surrounded by cops in a minute and got my butt kicked. And then everything, all the teachings of get ready, because in juvenile hall, this is gonna happen. You need to be ready. Definitely kicked in. First day, Central Juvenile Hall, Unit R. Hey, I said, where you from? And then everyone just turns their head to you. How are you gonna answer this? And you already know how you're gonna answer it. You yell out your neighborhood, somebody stomps, you take flight. And I don't know if you guys were in Central Juvenile Hall in the 80s, but some of the biggest dudes were in Unit R and just laughing at little Mexicans, just picking them up, slapping them against the walls, you know what I mean? And it was a game for them, you know, and it was just a reality for us of, you know, just a bulldog, just keep on going until they tear you off, you know? During those testing periods, and I remember them telling me straight up, like, you're going to juvenile hall. This is what you're gonna have to deal with, and you cannot be afraid. As a child, you know, looking to do his best in something that I feel embraced in, you take that serious, and you know that the odds are gonna be against you, but you still have to go in full force. You might not even know how to fight, but as long as you're swinging these dogs, you know, you feel like, well, I did my part. I did what I was supposed to do. Even staff kind of saying like, you did good. I remember that. And then I remember thinking I did do good. Yeah. And as much as I would rather had been on a baseball team or a football team and had a father to say, good job, son. Yeah. I didn't have that, I had this. Been jumped. I've been shot at many times. I remember axes coming by my face. I remember the old school black jackets with the line all the way around, those bomber jackets. Oh, yeah. So I had that on, and I got hit with the axe on the side of my jacket, and it tore everything. The jacket, my shirt, and my skin was not torn. And I felt like that was a miracle from God. There's no way. My skin is even more tender than the shirt that I was wearing. And I had a gun pulled out of me. And then my homeboy was saying, pull the trigger. And I was just looking at him like, You know, like, how are you gonna tell him not to pull the trigger? He's right, his gun is on us, but he didn't, and we ran. And that same axe hit my other homeboy in the head, and he had major stitches. He was bleeding like a crazy man. The poles that were being swung on us broke my other homeboy's arms, and I kind of looked like, how come I didn't get hurt like these guys did? It's a miracle to me. There's one thing that saved me all the time, and it was God. And then one day my mom, you know, she said, look son, I know you guys were gonna be street guys. And she goes, and I couldn't take care of you. She goes, I'd be nodding out on heroin. And she says, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'll be nodding and I'll be praying hard as I could to God, saying, I can't take care of these boys, they're your sons. And I feel like when she told me that, I like, wow, you know. She said, you take care of them, because I can't. That's why I'm alive. That's why I made it. Because there's no way that somebody could walk barefooted through glass and not get cut. We made it through. My twin brother got shot in the head, bullets, fragments in his brain.